When people run a smear campaign against you, which means they gather a group of people within a community to tarnish your name. When this happens, there's an energetic background to why it works and how to come out of it. Hi, I'm Holly, and I'm sharing a part of my journey to bring courage and inspire you on yours. And I want to talk about a little bit about my story of there was a few different smear campaigns against me. And I want to talk about why it worked in the first place, how long it worked for, and how to pull yourself out of it to save your life. And everything holds an energy. And the thing about the smear campaign is it's all energy. It didn't work totally at first against me because I was very high vibing. I was very successful, and I was fulfilled. I worked my ass off. I grew my business. I bought property. I was traveling a lot. I had my son. There was so much great things in my life that the energy projected from the smear campaign couldn't touch me. It was only able to touch those who the smear campaign was going around their community. So when my son's father told me he was separated for 2 years, he was no longer in a marriage, he told me a script, and yet he was telling everybody else around him nothing about me until I actually had my son. Then he told everybody that I was trying to get pregnant for child support and that I was a one-night stand. Meanwhile, we had planned on having a family and all this. So this was the beginning of the smear campaign within that community. And so what happens is he recruits all these flying monkeys because he's now, through nihilistic delusions and psychopathy, there is this level of deceit which he's causing in other people's lives, yet he has to maintain the same lies in order for the people around him to believe him. So he tells his wife one thing, he tells his son and his daughter something else, he tells the wife's sister something, the nana, the mom, which I was introduced to his mom. There's all of these factors within the community where the smear campaign starts, and then that energy is bubbling up. So then there's this negative energy, this negative projection towards me, where it can only touch me once there is a vibration on the level of that negative energy for it to attach onto. So the only way for it to actually hit me is when I am in that same patterning which he's projecting in my direction. So for that portion, it's only sitting within that community. Like attracts like. So the negativity that's projected within that community stays within that community. I'm still high vibing. I'm still growing my business. I'm still maintaining my positive energy. Their projections are not able to latch on to me. What ends up happening is I get involved with a new community, and then there is a new smear campaign started against my name, against my profession, which then travels around that community. The issue where it starts to affect me is when it's against my profession. Because what happens is I have all my documentation. I send all my documentation to the real estate council. They look it over. They say, yeah, you've got everything here that you need. It looks like you covered your ass. That lingers for about 2 years, because for some reason, whatever that reason is, they were unable to make a decision, which means now this negativity that's building within the first smear campaign against me is now collaborating with the negative energy building in the second smear campaign against me. So there's this whole entire energetic attack towards my energy, me being one single individual woman, and several different people within several different households, within several different corporations. And the second smear campaign starts by someone who works within the justice system, who works for the courthouse. She is supposed to have honor and integrity in her line of work. And now within the community, she is defamation of character and slander and libel against someone who is full of integrity and a benefit to society. And then she starts to break down. It's like what happens when this smear campaign, this energetic bubble, it expands, and the people in the area of that community, when they have a veil over their energy, and they are in alignment with that lower vibration, they will start to attract more flying monkeys to play on that smear campaign. And so those lower vibrational people are then gathering with that community, whether they're actually in close quarters or not, they're still within that community, and that energy is now feeding on and attaching to other people. So then there's this community over here, which is 3 hours distance from this community over here, attacking one woman. And then it starts to affect my career due to the fact that because the real estate council was too incompetent to finalize that decision, which they already said that, yeah, I have no idea what's going on here. And then they escalate it, stating that they're going to charge me for abuse of an elderly woman, which is nuts because I was still on good terms with my client. And so I just let it play itself out. What I do is now my life is being affected. My son's life is being affected because now I either have to put years aside to go to court, or I remove myself from these communities which are creating the smear campaign against me. So now I have to choose. Do I want to tie my energy in with the negativity, in with this man-made fictional corporate system, which is they're going to hold my life in their hands, their judgment? No, I already know how corrupt that whole thing is. So I chose to remove myself. I was still high vibing, still trusting the universe, still trusting the unknown. And what ends up happening is the very first location we moved to has somebody bullying my son. So we move within 10 days of being there, within like a few days of the bullying happening. And I was like, nope. So then no longer having a stable location due to the fact that my home, my career, my life, everything that I've worked my ass off for, everything I've built and created, my retirement plan, my legacy is being ripped from my hands. And then so what happens is my high vibe starts lowering. And when my high vibe starts lowering, there is the more of an opportunity for that lower vibration within the smear campaign to latch onto me. Which means when that lower vibration from the smear campaign, when I'm at that level, which it took a few years, it didn't happen right away. It took a few years for me to finally like start to wonder what's going on in my life and why I was being attacked and going through a dark night of the soul and death. And so my vibe started to lower. So then this energy is like, all right, we can now surround her. Now what's going to happen? Now anybody that I'm trying to connect with is going to energetically see me from the smear campaign's view. Because now my energy is engulfed in the smear campaign. When you have not even like a couple people, not a couple families, I'm talking like several people trying to ruin one person's life. And then I'm in the pits because I'm fighting by myself for my son, for our safety, and everything's being ripped from me. So then my vibe lowers and all these people around me start to question me because now I have attached to that energy because I'm down here. And I never knew this in the beginning. It took me the past few years of really just focusing on me, removing myself from these communities so that the people within the smear campaign, the people who they are constantly bashing my name to, whatever authorities they get involved, then what happens is they believe their words. Because again, it's all energy. I'm now in alignment with that negativity and that lower vibration. So people will start to believe that their words are true. So how do you pull yourself out of this? Because I know I'm not the only one. I see many videos of other people who are gang stalked, slandered, they try and ruin us. I'm not the only one. And so how do you remove yourself from that? And how do you finally pull yourself back into a space where you're comfortable and confident enough to be a part of society again? Because it gets to a point where you trust nobody. You used to trust those people that you had in your corner, and then you see that those people that you held closest to you were the ones who were actually the worst. So, what do you do? How is it that I am able to still be me and still return to wholeness and have this positive energy and still wanting to help people out there? Even when I was going through the shit, I was still helping people. I was lowest of the low, and I was still how can I serve? How can I serve you? And part of it was a distraction from my healing, yet at the same time, it was a part of my healing by helping others, by knowing that I was still valued. Even though it was people I had no idea who they were, whether they were a neighbor, whether they were someone on the street that I was walking past, no matter who it was. I find an ad online, somebody looking for help, and I go and help. How can I still remain that positive when the world is trying to break me? I'm sure that there's some new people watching this video that haven't watched any of my other ones. So you might not know a lot of my backstory. This is a part of what has happened to me. And so I'm going to tell you some key points on how to remove yourself from the smear campaign, how to overcome the adversities that come with it, the challenges and obstacles. And I'm going to tell you, I was very fortunate because I could sell things and still maintain financial stability to an extent. finding cash jobs here and there. Again, work trade, positions, things like that. The biggest thing is the energy. Where is your energy focused? Are you focused on all of the shit that's happening against you? Are you focused on how many people have tried to ruin you? Are you focused on being in a victim mentality? Because that is going to keep you in the negative side of the smear campaign. What I did was I took the past 3 years to study, heal, and focus. 3 years, I say 3 years because that's when I started to get into coaching. That's when I started to do my training and work more into how I can help others due to the shit that I've been through. And so your focus is key. Your mindset is key. Your perspective is key. Your perception. Are you allowing your emotions to run you? Are you emotionally attaching to people, places, things, and potential outcomes? Are you emotionally attaching yourself? Because that's how we create trauma within ourselves, is we emotionally attach and we create thoughts based off of these situations, rather than just being an observer as a subjective view. And so your focus, your perspective, your mindset. I removed myself from many people. Yes, there have been people placed on my path to help me along the way. We have met so many people along the way. Now, here is the key point on the smear campaign crumbling, because I'm going to tell you, this has been the biggest shift. And when you remove yourself from the communities, and I mean like moving states away, moving provinces away, moving countries if you need to. It's not going to happen overnight. This is it's not a one and done type of thing. This is like, it could take years, because again, it depends on your focus. The biggest key is your energy. And due to the fact of having so many people teaming up against you, you need to put yourself back into society. And it's not easy. It is not easy once the world is against you to put yourself back out there and remove yourself from isolation. But this is key. And you know why? Because of the energy. Because what you need to do is you need to build up that energy again of people valuing you in your authenticity. People viewing you in who you actually are. Because then what happens is the scales, because you have this heavy weight of all these people talking shit behind your back and trying to ruin your life, and you have you way up here by yourself, and you start to get more people in your corner who view your authenticity and who appreciate you and see who you actually are, then the scales become more balanced. And so when the scales become balanced and you have more people in your corner, what happens? The monkeys start to fall off the scale, because they're like, but you told us this. You told us that she was using you. You told us that she was causing the abuse. You told us that she was the problem. So these monkeys, they're just like, they jump off. They're like, heck no, I am not in your corner anymore. I don't want to go down with the ship. So they're jumping off, and all of a sudden it's like the scales are no longer balanced again. But what's happening is they're going in your favor. Because now the people that you've brought yourself back into community with, they can vouch for you. They see your authenticity. So then the energy is now building. The true, authentic energy. Because what happens? Everything happens in the spiritual in the ethers prior to in the physical. So now the smear campaign is imploding on itself. All of the authority figures, anybody within the system who has been manipulated into believing the smear campaign also, they're starting to wake up. They're like, wait a minute, but she's no longer in the picture and this is getting worse. So if she was the problem, wouldn't this have solved itself? Clearly, she's not the problem. So what are you talking about? Maybe you're the one that needs to be looked at. And so I pray that you hear these words. And here's the thing, it's not easy. It takes a lot of strength. It takes so much strength to maintain positivity. I always used to say I'm an optimist that brings a raincoat. I don't plan for everything. I trust myself to know exactly what to do when it needs to be done. Positive energy, positive mindset, trusting the process, knowing that everything that happens for good. Even if it's perceived as bad, everything that happens for good, because it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. The smear campaigns are ending. The psychopaths and sociopaths and narcissists, they are all being seen for who they truly are. Remove yourself. Positive mindset. Change your perception. Be a part of society. Baby steps. Doesn't have to happen all at once. Meeting new people. Showing them your true authentic self. And they will start to bring your value back up within the spiritual realms. It's not easy. I get it. I'm just grateful that I never, ever, ever thought of taking my life. I never once considered that. I always just knew that I had to find a way. And I am grateful for my spiritual team. I am grateful for trusting my internal guidance, my gut, my intuition. When they say you gotta move, you gotta move. I've trusted that. And now I no longer feel fear. I no longer feel I need to look around my shoulder, over my shoulder all the time for being stalked. Rewatch this video if you need to, but it's all energy. It's all energy. And I know that some people they won't have it as easy as I did because I had the investments and I just trust with your mustard seed of faith. You don't have to have a lot of faith. Know that you will be provided for. Because what happens is the way is shown once you make the leap, once you take the steps forward. You're not shown the entire path right away. You have to step out into the unknown and you just have to trust. And when you are righteous, when your heart is as light as a feather, when you hold unconditional love for others and you never wish ill will for another, never cause harm, when you are righteous, the path will be made for you. You just have to trust it. I promise you, you will be provided for when your heart is pure. I know that a lot of people are going through some tough times right now, and not many people talk about it. And I know that sometimes it can be scary, especially when you have sons or daughters, and especially when people are trying to ruin you. Just know that, please hear my words. There are people out there who will support you. There are genuine people still in the world. And yeah, sometimes it feels lonely. When you learn to be alone and not be lonely, being alone, trusting that it's better to be alone than in bad company, it'll all work out. I promise you. Mwah. Bliss for each and every one of you. And reach out if you need some support. Just email me. I'll put my email down below. Email me even if you just want to say hi. Because I don't want you to feel alone.